Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me welcome you to the Burke County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Tuesday, January 19th, 2021, 6 p.m. I'll ask you to check your mobile devices at this time to be sure if you have anything that's going to make any noise. Please take care of that. Silence those at this time. And I would remind you, if you come to speak tonight to the podium up front, please be sure that you turn the microphone on so that we can get a good recording and hear what you have to say. And also give our clerk time between the speakers to step forward, and she'll clean the podium in that area between speakers as well. We are delighted tonight to have Pastor Ed Stevenson at Arnie's Fairview United Methodist Church with us to provide our invocation. Pastor Ed, if you'll come, and then following his invocation, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. That'll be led by our County Attorney, J.R. Simpson. Let's stand together, please.
Gentlemen, before we bow our heads to pray, I was given this stick when I came in appreciation, and I was afraid at first it was a replacement for walking papers, but thank you. Thank all of you for this. I am reminded of a fellow that I read about in a book that I read a lot in. He took a stick like this and parted the sea with it. He struck a rock and water came out. That is significant. We live in a time, we are experiencing times that none of us have ever seen, have ever experienced. Our country's changing. We have fear, some of us, and some of us are glad. And that is a normal and natural thing. My thoughts are this: no matter what happens in Federal City or in Capital City, we live in a county and are so served by men and women who put aside personal differences to come to conclusions for matters that are better for the county, regardless of our personal opinions. And I want to say thank you to all of you for that. The county should be very proud of you. Now let us pray. Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this hallowed place, Lord. We thank you for these men and women who selflessly serve for the betterment of all the citizens of this beautiful and wonderful county that we live in, that we're privileged to live in. Father, I pray for our country. I pray for all concerned. But now, Lord, I pray for peace. I pray for these men. Touch them, Lord. Give them a double dose of your strength and your wisdom and your grace. We make this plea and we offer this prayer in the name of the one who has come to save us all. His name is Jesus Christ. Amen.
Yes. Please join me in the pledge of flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor, for your invocation. Thank you for being here tonight. Let me also say, when you come to the podium tonight, and first off, let me say thank you for your cooperation in wearing the mask and going through the process as you came in tonight. And if you come to the podium to speak, if you are comfortable and wish to take your mask off, you may do so while you're speaking. And you can certainly keep it on if you are more comfortable doing that as well. Okay? Gentlemen, this brings us to item number 4, approval of agenda. You've had the agenda for a number of days. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That'll be all of us, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Item number 5 on the agenda is approval of meeting minutes. We have minutes before us for November 3rd, 2020 pre-agenda meeting, November 3rd, 2020 special meeting, November 17, 2020 regular meeting, December 17, 2020 organizational meeting, December 7, 2020, pre-agenda meeting. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion to approve these.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve all 5 as amended.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That is all of us. Thank you. This brings us to item number 6, presentations. This comes from our Animal Services Director, Pet of the Month, Caitlin Settlemeyer. Caitlin, thank you for being here tonight and welcome.
Hi, how is everyone?
Very good.
Good. So we're going to present our January Pets of the Month. So for our dogs, we have Mr. Dan. Dan is about a 4-year-old red tick coonhound. He is absolutely adorable, but please be aware, if you are in love with this dog, you do have to strap him up and ride him like a pony anywhere you go because he is so strong. He needs a lot of training. He is quite a clown. He loves other dogs, loves people, is very opinionated about cats. So I would recommend a home with no other cats for this guy. But he is so sweet. He's been with us about a month now. He was found as a stray. A nice Samaritan took him in for the weekend, tried to find an owner. No owner came forward, so now he's with us looking for a new home. So we also have Miss Birdie. Miss Birdie has been with us a very long time. She came to us, she was pregnant. She had several kittens who have all found homes. So now Miss Birdie is looking for a home for her own. She is currently in a foster home, and her foster did write us a nice little blurb here about Birdie. She said, "Birdie is such a sweet girl. She loves to play by your side, and she's always looking for some pets. While she has great motherly instincts, Birdie also loves to play. You can find her chasing a plush mouse around the room or teaching her kittens how to jump, pounce, or chase a toy." So she is just a beautiful cat, and I know that she would love to find a forever home very soon. So those are our 2 pets of the month. We also have some very exciting news. So this is a puppy by the name of Nutty Coconut. Nutty Coconut was actually born here in our Burke County shelter. Her mom came to us really pregnant. She gave birth the next day. We felt Nutty Coconut needed to go and grow big and strong somewhere else out of the shelter setting. So we sent her to a rescue in New York, and she was chosen to play in Animal Planet's Puppy Bowl. So she is going to be on national television on February 7th at 2 p.m. So that is just so cool. We have a local superstar from Burke County that's going to be playing in the Puppy Bowl this year. As always, we are always looking for fosters and adopters. Kitten season is right upon us. We're already starting to see some pregnant females come in. So we are looking for fosters to help with life-saving here in Burke County. We desperately need it. So anybody looking to foster, adopt, please reach out to us. Follow our Facebook page. We try to keep that updated as much as possible. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Caitlin. Great job. Anything for Caitlin tonight? All right, thank you. I would encourage you to continue to think about fostering and or adopting pets. Our shelter is open, and please go down, see those folks, see the cats and dogs. This brings us to item number 7, scheduled public hearings. Tonight we have 2 public hearings. The first one will come from our Fire Marshal, adoption of ordinance amending Chapter 30, Article 2, Fire Prevention and Protection Code. Mike Willis, we'll hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our fire code, our fire prevention ordinance is just needed to be updated. We have updated it to the current fire code, which our old code had, or our old ordinance had the previous fire code, which was volume 5. So we took that out of it. We made some minor changes, just grammatical changes, and we only added one section, that the section 3031C, property owners shall be responsible for signage costs incurred by the Fire Marshal's Office for marking and placarding unsafe buildings as defined by North Carolina State Building Code, Fire Prevention Code. And that's the only changes we needed to make to it, sir.
All right, thank you, Mike. Gentlemen, you've heard this information. Before I open the public hearing, any questions for Mike on this matter? Hearing none, then at this time, I'll open the public hearing to receive comments. Anyone here tonight to speak to this item? Madam Clerk, any written comments on this item?
No, sir.
Thank you. All right, hearing none, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion on this item. I'll close the public hearing. Thank you, Jay.
Mr. Chairman, most of this is to comply with state regulations, and I think we discussed it at pre-agenda, so I do make the motion to adopt order number 2820-01, amended chapter 30, the fire prevention and fire protection of the Burke County Code of Ordinances.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Gentlemen, you've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by the uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that's 5-0. Second public hearing we have tonight comes from BDI, our building reuse grant for Project Glides, and public hearing. This will be presented tonight by Alan Wood, our BDI President and CEO. Good evening, Alan.
Good evening, Board. Appreciate it. And we're excited to talk about Project Glides. This is actually one project in 3 parts. So I'll just go through all of them. I think they're going to be considered as one under the public hearing. First is the building reuse grant for building at 115 Wamsutta Mill Road in the amount of $100,000. That goes with the creation of 80 new jobs that will be tied to this project. There is a 5% match required from local government. That would be, I'm asking the City of Morganton to share that with you. That will be on their February agenda. So each entity would have $12,500 as their portion of the match, and that would be administered through the Western Piedmont Council of Governments. The second part is a local grant for this project that would be equal to 50% of the new tax base created by this project. It would not consider the existing building or property, but it would be the new expansion and new equipment. We're estimating roughly $10 million, 7.5 on the building and 2.5 on new equipment and racking that will go in there. We're looking to do a 50% grant for a period of 5 years, which would be roughly at the current tax rate, $34,750 a year. And then finally, we are looking to, this is a building that the county owns, and we are looking to, for the county to sell this building to a partner that would then come in, lease it back to the company, and do a 100,000 square foot expansion. We went through the process to establish the value of this building by getting 2 brokers' opinion by qualified real estate brokers. Between the 2 of them, they have well over 60 years of experience selling buildings all over the Southeast. Taking those 2 values, we took the average. One was 1,755. The other one was 1.693,622. We took the average of that, and we came up with a sales price of $1,724,311. So the company would come in, the one that will do the expansion would buy the building from the county prior to construction, close it out, do the expansion, and lease it back to the company. And since they're doing that, it doesn't really come into play, but we expect that construction to be completed. The goal would be to have construction completed before the end of this calendar year. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Gentlemen, before I open the public hearing, any questions for Alan on this matter? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing at this time. Anyone here tonight to speak to this item? Madam Clerk, any written?
No, sir.
Thank you. All right. Gentlemen, at this time, I'll close the public hearing and open the floor for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt Resolution 2021-02, approve a grant administration contract to Western Piedmont Council of Governments, pending a building reuse grant award for Project Glides, subject to an award of building reuse funds for Project Glides, accept the grant funding and authorize the chairman to execute the grant documentation on behalf of the board, subject to review and/or revision by the county attorney, approve an economic development incentive of 50% of the new taxable investment of $10 million for 5 years, and the creation of at least 80 new jobs. Authorize the chairman to execute the agreement on behalf of the board, subject to review and/or revision by the county attorney. Approve an appropriation of general fund balance of up to $12,500 for the grant match if needed. Concerning the proposed sale of 115 Sutter Mills Road to the selected purchaser, the board hereby determines that the fair market value of the property is $1,724,311. Determines that the probable average hourly wage to be paid to the anticipated 80 new workers at Project Glides is at or above the county average wage. Approves and authorizes the sale of the property to the selected purchaser for $1,724,311, and authorizes the chairman to execute the deed and other documentation to the selected purchaser, subject to review and/or revision by the county attorney.
Thank you, Commissioner Mulway. Gentlemen, you've heard this motion. All those in favor, please signify by the uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that is 5-0. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much.
This brings us to item number 8, informal public comments. Anyone here tonight for informal public comments? Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Caroline Avery.
If you will, please state your name and address.
Sir. I'm Caroline Avery. My address is 115 Riverside Court. Before I start, I just want to thank each of you for serving our county and for serving our country. I'm grateful, and it's a privilege for me to be able to speak to you tonight, so thank you for allowing me this privilege. Burke County has a complex history, like me, like probably many of you. Talk to families who have called this place home for hundreds of years. The Fullwoods, the McGimpseys, the Averys. These families consider me a newcomer. I was born in Birmingham, Alabama in 1961, and I spent my childhood there. This is my 35th year in Burke County. I've raised 3 children here with my husband, Sam, and worked with 2 furniture companies, a municipality, a state institution, a nonprofit organization, all in Burke County. I feel like I know this community and its people. Part of our history is unique and exemplary. Burke County and Morganton have never had white people on one side of the railroad tracks and black people on the other side of the railroad tracks. White children living on West Union were playmates with black children from the Jonesboro neighborhood. Wow, that's a good story. That's part of our history that we should be proud of and share with others. This kind of integration was unique for the South and even unique for our neighboring counties during the mid-20th century. In 1907, it was announced that Burke County would raise $3,000 to build a Confederate monument, with the county paying half and the citizens of Burke County paying the other half. 6 years later, 1913, this community had not raised the money for this monument, and the county commissioners, your forefathers, had not committed a dime. The state legislature took action and passed a bill that year that forced you, the county commissioners, to pay $1,000 for the construction of the monument. The community could not raise the remaining money needed to build the monument, so a Georgia businessman was contacted to pay the remainder. The people of Burke County never supported the establishment of this statue. History shows that this monument was not funded and built by local people. It was built by a few people who had their own agenda. The Daughters of the Confederacy and a Georgia businessman, not the people of our county. I'm sure you know the largest manhunt in Western North Carolina's history ended at the foot of this monument, where the bloodied body of Broadus Miller was dragged and dumped for all to see and view in 1927. The viewing in this monument had the same purpose: incite fear. The monument is not who we were then, and it's not who we are now. Our community is funding this wonderful amphitheater and complete renovation of our historic courthouse lawn, our country's true center. There are so many historically positive things to remember about Burke County. Why would we leave a monument built and funded by outsiders, reminding us of a painful part of our country's history in the very center of town? Does this reflect well on our community? Does this welcome all to this general gathering place? The City of Morganton's website states that the Courthouse Square renovation will be a welcoming symbol of our community by continuing its heritage of being the place to gather for our citizens and visitors. I wonder, how welcoming is this Confederate monument to all of our citizens? Will Black entertainers perform on that stage, sharing green space with a monument that represents so much pain? Let's use this renovation to find an appropriate resting ground for this monument. Let's not allow outsiders to rewrite our history. Let's set our priorities, and identify how we welcome people to our community. I ask you as our leaders to insist upon doing the right thing with this renovation and making it truly a welcoming symbol to all of our community and all of our visitors. I know that you agree with me. If you see something, I know many of you, if you see something that is not right, not just, not fair, you have a moral obligation to do something about it. To whom much has been given, much is expected. I'm happy to help you in any way. I remain at your service. Thank you for your time and your leadership.
Thank you, Ms. Avery. Any other comments, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have comments from Mr. Robert Pitts. He writes, "My name is Robert Pitts. I'm a current resident on Antioch-Huffman Bridge Road. Over the past year, the amount of roadside debris has become excessive. Due to the recent pandemic, inmates are no longer utilized for roadside pickup. As a result of the excessive amount of roadside debris has become increasingly worse. I've been in touch with Jeff Buchanan as well as Deputy Marler. While polite, they offered little insight to addressing the problem at hand. They both agree that the roadside debris is a problem, but due to lack of funds and manpower, no regularly scheduled maintenance or trash pickup is available. I'm asking that the board consider working with DOT and the maintenance crew to allocate funds and manpower to this road, as it has been an issue since the landfill opened. I would also consider that we look back into utilizing our inmate population and/or assigning community service hours to this road monthly. I understand this may take some time to address. In the meanwhile, could we please have a crew come out for a one-time road pickup from the start of Huffman Bridge to the landfill turnoff? I appreciate your consideration and time regarding this matter. Sincerely, Robert Pitts."
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any other comments tonight? All right, seeing here none, I'll move on to our next item in the agenda. That brings us to item number 9, consent agenda, and I'll recognize our county manager for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have 10 items on your consent agenda. First, BOC resolution in support of NCACC Presidential Initiative to promote food system resiliency. Item 2, clerk reappointments to Board of Equalization and Review. Item 3, clerk reappointments to the Board of Health. Item 4, community development, accept beach club trail easement. Item 5, county manager fee agreement for legal services. Item 6, finance, presentation of the fiscal year 19-20 audit. Item 7, finance audit contract for fiscal year 20-21. Item 8, fire marshal, appointments to the local emergency planning committee. Item 9, tax department release refund report for December 2020. And item 10, tax department tax collection report for December 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Steen. Gentlemen, you've heard the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for its approval.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve all 10 consent agenda items as rendered.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Gentlemen, you've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That's all of us, Madam Clerk. This brings us to item number 10. We have one item for decision tonight. This will come from our sheriff, a sworn lieutenant position at the jail. Good evening, Sheriff.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to help us help our jail. We've been asking for a sworn jail lieutenant position, and for several reasons. There's several things that we can do to improve the jail with this position. It would provide the jail with the ability to have a lieutenant on duty spread over many more days, evenings, and nights. The sworn lieutenant would be able to serve warrants, assist in both local and state transports. Currently, we have one transport officer for the entire state, and that officer works sometimes 7 days a week. And the lieutenant can provide security coverage for inmates who transferred to local hospitals for medical, psychological purposes, or for Raleigh to undergo forensic evaluations. They can assist with jail training and perform other related jail duties best performed by a sworn officer. In addition to the needs above, the current 2 non-sworn jail lieutenants' duties have dramatically increased with the change in the jail disciplinary policy and procedure that we're doing. Currently, the jails that have been receiving inmates under the the state misdemeanor confinement program have stopped doing that primarily because of COVID. And we have been able to keep some of those inmates at a cost, or actually a revenue producing thing for the county. We, since July, have generated revenues of $15,578 for those inmates. However, there is paperwork concern that creates for that position to submit to the county to get those revenues, and that's been about 20 hours a week. With the new mandatory formal hearings that inmates now cannot waive, we're asking that this new jail lieutenant could do disciplinary policy one person rather than spread that out over different officers, and that would make a more objective officer hearing those same hearings over and over, and then become an expert actually in those things. But the goal is to assign one lieutenant to schedule and conduct those hearings, as well as to ensure the mandatory timeliness allowed by the new process. So we ask that you would consider providing the sheriff's office with this sworn jail lieutenant position.
Okay, thank you, sir. Gentlemen, you've heard the sheriff's request. Any questions to the sheriff at this time?
Mr. Chairman, on the overtime hours that the transport deputy, how many hours are those overtime hours? Stephen, are those overtime hours time and a half?
I'll refer to the jail captain. Do you know that answer, Greg?
I would say he's, on any given week, he could tack on another 20 to 25 hours. And yes, it is time and a half when they get a certain number, which is 86 hours count, converts to time and a half.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
Other questions for the sheriff?
Mr. Chairman, I was the one who voted to leave this on a decision item. And one of the reasons for that, I wanted a little more time to think about it and also look at the long-term effect that it would have. But I also think that we're interested with any manager who looks at his situation and decides a change would be more efficient. But one of my main things about budgets is you don't add money after the budget's been planned and voted on. And what I wanted to ask you, Steve, on today, I asked many questions at pre-agenda. If you could take that budget, which is $115,000 a year, and of course in 10 years, that's, you know, it becomes $1 million in a hurry. But if you chose to take 2 or 3 other positions and change them for one of these would be more beneficial to you, I don't mind allowing that to happen. I think that is your decision if you wanted to do that. So I guess what I'm saying is you can rearrange personnel and stay in the same budget and hire this individual, I would have no opposition to that. However, if it increases the budget, I would have opposition to it.
So I'm a little confused now. So what would you want us to do in lieu of adding a lieutenant would be what?
No, you can add one if you can do it without increasing your budget. Do you have lapsed salaries? Do you have, personnel that you think this is more important? To rearrange your staff in a manner that you would have the budget as it is to put this new position, lieutenant, on, I would have no problem with that.
We could ask Margaret what our lapse salary is. We should have sufficient lapse salary. Today we're 17 positions short in the jail, so that's 17 positions that we've had for a long time and we're unable to fill. So I'm sure there's a tremendous amount of lapse salary. I don't know how much that is.
Other
Mr.
questions?
Chairman, shall we ask Margaret how much lapsed salary he may have?
I don't have that number at the moment. There would be lapsed salaries. However, once the other positions are full, you would not have lapsed salaries going forward. You would only have them currently. They wouldn't be lapsed ongoing if the jail is able to be fully staffed.
Yeah, but under the theory that I am recommending, that salary, his budget doesn't include additional person already approved for next year. It would still be within the same budget.
You mean not fill all the positions, take one of the existing positions?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you.
Are you saying take one of the existing positions to use for this going forward?
Well, somewhere he would have to balance that out to come, to have the same amount of budget, that it would not increase the budget this year nor next year.
But we'll definitely not increase it this year because of, we've had these 17 positions have been vacant since, I guess, July the 1st for the most part. I don't know when we reached 17, but it would definitely not cost more for this year, I don't think, to hire the person. Now, next year, it would. If we got the full staff, and of course, I've got agenda item before you, hopefully in February, to try to get us at full staff. We have hired 24 people in the calendar year of 2020, and we lost 24. We have got to do some things to be able to recruit and retain these people. That is expensive to hire 24 people. That's the people that you have hired, brought in, uniformed, trained, and lose them. We've hired 26, lost 24. So I don't know how many we actually have interviewed that we put in the background. We had, I think, 3 wash out of background last week. So there's a tremendous amount of money that we are expending trying to get people there. One of the things that, other than pay, the primary reason that they're leaving is because we're understaffed. And they're able to make more money. Not so much, we've not lost very many to other jails. We've lost them to private industry. I think we lost 3 to FedEx within a week or 2. So that's the difficulty we're having, being understaffed, not having people to operate the jail just puts more work on the people that's there. It's doing a good job. So we've tried to come up with a few items that we felt like would be most beneficial to be able to recruit and retain. And this is one of those items. Having somebody that can stay there and help these other lieutenants. For example, this one lieutenant that we're using now for disciplinary, all of a sudden 20 hours a week was added to his job to do these disciplinary hearings. They are in desperate need of having some additional people just to assist them. I think that having a sufficient amount of people, and hopefully we'll get there. And when we get there, then we can start renting beds ourselves. We can start generating revenue for the county, but we need to get there. And it's just difficult because being so understaffed, we are literally running these people into the ground. And obviously, 24 of them said they're not going to do it anymore.
Well, I think, Mr. Chairman, if I may respond a little bit, I understand your pain a minute. I have kinfolks in a couple of counties. My wife's sister's boy is a state patrolman commander in Cornelius. And we get together and we talk a lot. I have some other kinfolks, one of them here in Burke County. But one of the things that's a little bit shocking, I think, to all of us, not your fault, not my fault, not anybody's fault, but the truth of the matter is that people think they ought to be able to break the law and get away with it and not have to be arrested, not go through the court system, not be fined, not be, it's a happy birthday for everybody every day. So, but the real truth of the matter is most Americans really appreciate law enforcement and people who protect us. One of the reasons we can all lay our head on the pillow and sleep well at night is because of our law enforcement people and emergency people, fire departments, all of those people who fall under that. We're going to protect you and help keep you safe if we can. But I understand that some of the attitude of the people they'd just love not to have any law enforcement at all, which would really be a crying shame for America and for communities and counties and cities. So, but I think back to the subject and requesting, I think if you've got the money, my personal opinion, I'm not speaking for anybody but Maynard, if you've got the money in your budget without asking for additional budget dollars, you are the sheriff and you should have the right to take that money and use it where you think it would be more beneficial to the citizens of Burke County. You and I serve Burke County in different categories, but we all serve Burke County. So, but that would be my comments on it. I hate looking at $115 for a person, but people need to understand that's for car too now. That's not for salary alone. So, but and we can talk on about recruitment and keeping them, but that's not in the subject tonight. We'll save that for a cup of coffee or something.
Well, thank you, sir. And I would like to take the opportunity to say that we are very blessed in Burke County. I think that a vast majority of the citizens do support law enforcement. We feel that every day. There are people bringing things to us, sending us cards, kids writing thank you letters. Our office has those plastered on the walls. So we live in a very blessed area as far as people supporting law enforcement. So thank you for what you guys have done for us to make us able to serve the public. And we want to just continue to be able to serve even better.
All right. Any other questions for the sheriff? Gentlemen, you've heard the presentation. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that this become the sheriff's decision, and he understands that we're not adding a position, and we're not adding anything to budget. It will come out of this year's budget, and whatever he and the board, county commissioners decides for budget for next year will be the budget for next year. I make that as a motion.
All right. Madam Clerk, is that motion, you got that?
It's clear as mud, isn't it?
All right. Gentlemen, you've heard the motion. I'll call for a vote. Those in favor of this motion signify by the uplifted hand. Those opposed? Madam Clerk, that's 3-2. Motion carries. This time will bring us to item number 11, reports and comments. We'll begin with County Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the last meeting of Commissioners on December 15th, I have reviewed contracts on behalf of BDI for the 1NC fund, the Motorola contract for communications, and 2 other contracts, one for the Burke County Jail and one for the 911 Center. I have drafted the Unix local grant agreement for grants from Morganton and Burke County, and prepared 2 contracts for general services and the Fontaflora County Park. I've researched the use of CARES Act funds for hazard bonus and overtime pay and prepared a memo to the commissioners regarding that. I've received proposed revisions on the Hoff Development Agreement, met with Scott Carpenter regarding that, and am in the process of revising the agreement such that it can be brought before the board shortly. And we think we have one of our lawsuits settled, so I'll be working on a proposed consent of judgment on that this week.
All right, thank you, J.R. Madam Clerk?
No comments for me, thank you.
All right, Mr. Manager?
No comments, thank you.
Mr. Avery?
No comments, thank you.
Mr. Taylor?
Just a kind of a personal note, Mr. Chairman, if I may. I hate to report it, but my 2 sons and their wives and their family have gone through COVID in the last 2 weeks. I have been fortunate not to catch it yet, and I do encourage everybody to take that COVID seriously and try to stay healthy. It is worthwhile to participate in the practices that will at least keep you from maybe catching that disease or that virus. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Mulway?
Mr. Chairman, the only minutes not submitted were the minutes for our Tourism Development Authority meeting this morning. Those will be submitted for the February meeting. And I do want to just say that I would ask everybody to keep their thoughts and prayers for the family of Jack Perry. He passed away this past weekend. I went to Oak Hill and Freedom High School with him. He was very involved in the community and was well liked and loved throughout the community. So I just wanted to mention that. Everybody keep his family in your thoughts and prayers.
Thank you. Mr. Carson?
No comments, sir.
All right, thank you. Let me make a few courtesy reminders tonight. We do have scheduled for our commissioners budget planning retreat that'll take place January the 28th at 8:30. Be in this meeting room. February the 2nd, pre-agenda meeting will be held by Zoom. Would ask you to follow us on Facebook. Please help our wildlife and the environment by removing trash. We heard a public comment concerning trash tonight. Would ask you to help us with that. If you see trash, pick it up. And beyond that, don't throw any out. Please spay or neuter your pets. Please consider volunteering at the Animal Services Center and/or fostering or adopting a pet. Let me also take just a moment tonight to follow up on some of Commissioner Taylor's comments concerning COVID. Rebecca, is that you back there in that mask? I'll make a stab at this, but if I get off base, please step up. I want our folks in the county to know that we're continuing to get vaccine on a very limited basis, and we're working hard to see that vaccine is administered as quickly as we can. We are working hard to see that no vaccine is being wasted in Burke County. Because our hospital is receiving most of the vaccine, we are working carefully with them in coordination with our health department, our emergency management, and many other people to coordinate the distribution of those vaccines to the public. They have just, as of yesterday and this morning, activated a new telephone process to get appointments. Those appointments are being taken Monday through Wednesday, and the phone number is being published. Rebecca, can you tell me that number? I don't have it right in front of me. Is that easy? Or while you're looking it up, I'll keep talking. Then they'll be coordinating those vaccine clinics through that process. But please be patient. We simply don't have enough vaccine in Burke County to vaccinate everyone who is eligible at this time. So it will be, at least at this point, a slow process. We ask for your patience, and we'll process those calls. And Rebecca, can you give me that number?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
It is 828. I know you're going to make it. It is 828-358-4454. So 828-358-4454. And can I just add something to that?
Please do.
When the hospital's phone system crashed yesterday, then they put in a fix for a call center. It's actually one number, but it's several people who are answering the phones as it rolls in. Today, when we had our meeting at 4:20, they had over 60,000 calls to this new number. And we're actually working with the hospital to see if they will expand their number of days and hours for persons to call in. Because this county does have a large number of persons who are 65 plus in the county. So if they'll be patient, if they'll bear with us, that number will be functional more than 3 days a week, hopefully. Is that about right, Mike Willis? Mike Willis, the emergency manager, and I have been working with them. It is not the health department. You know, we tell people if some of the other counties have people who don't want vaccine, they can go to any county they want to. It's a federal allocation. And we have been working through our priority groups. One other thing, just as people say, well, why don't you have more? It's based on population and storage of what we have. We have a lot of state institutions in this county. Burke County is third behind Wake County for the number of state employees. We also have Broughton, who's received doses, Jefferson Riddles, who's received doses, and the hospital, as you said, they have the ultra cold chain storage, which is the minus 80 degrees for Pfizer. The state told us it's public health not to buy it because they're $18,000 to $20,000 a unit. So the hospital is getting way more than what we are. We have received 500 doses. As of last Friday, they're all in arms of healthcare people and those who are 75. We have not had any wasted doses, neither has the hospital. I think people have said, oh, they wasted doses. No, they do not. If we get to the end of the day and we have 2 or 3 more, because Pfizer tends to have more doses than the 5 that it says that it has, we have people that we can call who are in that age group says, please let me have it. We have gotten everybody in that has come through. Yes, I would love to have more. And we will get there. but please be patient. Please don't cuss us out anymore. Please understand that it's not the health department. It's a call center. We're working to expand it with the school system also to help. And we thank you for your support because we're working through it. So I don't know if you have any questions.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. Again,
Thank you.
that new number to call for an appointment is 828-358-4454. And again, I ask for your patience. We cannot provide vaccine that we don't have. So we are making it clear to the state that we are able to administer vaccine, and we will take more vaccine, and we're right there asking. But please be patient. Try not to be angry with folks that are answering the phone, and we'll get to you as quickly as we possibly can. All right, that brings us to item number 12, vacancy announcements tonight. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have the following opportunities for citizens to be involved in county boards and committees: the Adult Care and Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee, Council on Aging, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, City of Morganton Board of Adjustment and Planning Board for the ETJ, Burke Senior Center Advisory Council, the Recreation Commission, and Blue Ridge Community Action.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us to our closed session tonight. We do need closed session. This is to discuss threatened or impending litigation, to preserve the attorney-client privilege, to discuss economic development matters, to discuss personnel matters, and to discuss terms of acquisition of real property. I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11 A3, 4, 5, and 6.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. This time we'll take just about 2 or 3 minutes, and we'll meet in closed session. All those in favor, uplifted hand, please. 5-0, Madam Clerk. All right, at this time we'll consider ourselves back in session. We had a proper motion to come out of closed session. And at this time, I'll recognize Vice Chair Mulvey for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make the motion to authorize the county manager to execute purchase agreements for real property on behalf of the board as follows. PIN numbers 27724500350 and PIN number 27724439006, which is 4.7 acres. $120,000 plus $6,000 for geotechnical services. And number 2, PIN number 175514928, which is 2.5 acres, $22,300. Further appropriate up to $148,300 of general fund balance.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Gentlemen, you've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that is 5-0. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to recess to the January 28th, 2021 meeting at 8:30 a.m. Here in this same room for our budget and planning retreat.
So moved.
Gentlemen, heard the motion. Those in favor signify by uplifted hand. 5-0, Madam Clerk. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Hello, I'm Brian Steen, the Burke County Manager, and I'd like to introduce you to Zeke, Ty, and Chloe. They're my 3 pets, and I adopted them all from rescue agencies. I hope if you're thinking about getting a dog or a cat, you'll consider contacting our local rescue agencies and adopt one. If you have a cat or a dog, I hope you'll also consider having them spay or neutered to help us reduce the number of unwanted pets in Burke County. Whatever you can do to help us would be appreciated, and in a moment we'll show you some contact information for both the rescue agencies in Burke County and agencies that can help you with low-cost spay and neuter. Thank you again. I hope you have a great day. Woof. Thank you.